Lastly, let's just notice that we have some strange things going on here with our form, and we may have screwed up our HTML a little bit, and I want to go back into the HTML anyway. So let's go back to the source code. At some point I must have accidentally dragged our input field outside of our form here. Let's pull this out a little bit. There you go. There we go, that's better. Now let's move it up. There we go, not sure how that happened. Alright, anyway, we're going to do one more div here. And this is going to be a div that kind of wraps around each block, question block, and allow us to do a little bit more styling specific to the question area itself. And I might call this the question div, but we're going to reuse this div for other parts of the site. So we're just going to call this by generic, we're going to call it entry. And we're going to take the closing div and toss it at the end of the form. Let's go ahead and do some quick formatting here. Let's partner up our hidden fields. Pop this out, comment our div. And there you have it. We'll save this and let's flip over to the design really quick. And what we're going to do is make a class for the entry. And we're going to add a margin so we can get it away from the edge there, and we're just going to give it a 30 pixel margin all the way around. And for the content area, let's go ahead and really quick throw in a padding of 0 pixels and 20 pixels. And if you're not familiar with CSS, this is saying for the top and bottom do 0, for the left and right do 20. But what we do need to do is compensate for this extra padding here, because we've just added 40 pixels on either side, so we need to change the width to 660 to make up for that. And there you go. So now the survey will load with the survey name here and the questions here, and the questions will kind of be bumped out a little bit. Let's give our h3 a class. We'll call it QTitle for question title, and let's just toss a colon here. And I want to make the size of our field a little bigger because we don't know how large the answer might be or how long. So let's flip back over to CSS after we save this. I'll make another section here. So let's do h2.QTitle, and all I want to do is I want to kill the margin and padding. Sorry, that's an h3 tag. There we go. So now the question name is going to rest right on top of the answer box. And just because we do have more room here, let's go ahead and extend that input field just a little more. We'll go with an 85. So let's go ahead and we're going to save and upload. And here it is. We do have an issue here with our CSS, and that is the surveys h2 tag is bumping this out here. So there's a couple different ways we can combat that. So what we need to do is come in and we need to make another heading rule here, and this time we'll say h2 like title, and we'll toss this margin and padding rule in here, our attributes, and save. come over here, let's give a class to this. Do site title. Save and upload, and yes to dependents. Let's go ahead and refresh. There we go. But now what I want to do is go to default here, CSS, and let's give our header an actual height of say 60 pixels. Save and upload. And now what we're going to do lastly in the CSS is give our site here, site title, a little padding. And we'll give it 15 on the top, 0 on the right, 0 on the bottom, and 15 on the left side, which will bump it out a bit. And the final thing I want to do, border to the bottom of our overall wrap. As you can see here, this looks a little funky. And what we're going to need to do also is we're going to copy this margin and padding and dump that in the footer. And so what we're going to do is we're going to give it about 4 pixels all the way around, and then we're going to add a rule or paragraph inside the footer, and we're going to drag these in here, change it to 0, save and upload. Awesome. And we can probably toss a border on top of our footer just to seal the deal. And the very last thing to do, which I know I've said a couple of times, is we're going to change the font family. For now, we're just going to change it overall, and we're going to use the font that I can never really pronounce, which is Trabucket, I don't know. Maybe somebody can help me on that one. So save and upload. There we go. So our CSS is set up, and that concludes this part of the survey project. Up next, we're going to get into the PHP and working with functions.